This week on the finale of The Bachelor.
Love and tell them that you can't be with them.
Give me a second, man.
It's impossible.
Both women are on their way here right now. I really need to know which one to send first.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about The Bachelor Season 29, the finale, plus After the Final Rose. Let's get right into this. Okay, you guys, so after 9 episodes, we are now at the finale. This is Season 29 finale, Grant Ellis' season. 2 women, 1 man. Who will it be? Okay, so Jesse starts with a tease. He says that there's never been a bachelor who has been so torn up to the final moment, and that we need to get our tissues ready for the revelation of everything that has happened. So then we begin with the finale. So we're back at La República Dominicana, the Dominican Republic, where Grant's parents and sister have now arrived. The first woman we see is Latia. She looks very excited. Grant likes Latia. He says that she's what he pictures his wife being. So they're meeting the family. Grant looks so much like his dad. So they talk about the journey the mom wants to know, and Latia talks about their first date in LA and how they really connected in a very deep level. The sister says to Latia, I liked you ever since day one. And, there's a lot of connection here. Grant is grabbing onto her, kissing her. Grant's dad says, you guys look so good together. So then Latia goes to talk to his mom privately. She asks Latia, so what made you love my son? And Latia says that she knew she loved him when he was around her family. And seeing the way he interacted with everyone and just the type of person that he is. The mom asks, how will this look like if you do end up together after the show? What would their next steps be? And Latia says that's something they need to talk about, but she's open-minded. She wants their future kids to be around these grandparents. Latia is saying some great things to his mom, like he's open up to her about his childhood and past experiences. She also lets Grant's mom know that there are 0 doubts for her. If Grant proposes, she will absolutely say yes with no hesitation. Then Latia speaks to Grant's dad. He says to Latia, me and Grant's mom are divorced. How do you feel about that? And Latia says, yeah, they're going to take what they were given as kids and, just work together. She also tells him that she's ready to get married and have kids. So the dad really liked listening to her. He thinks Latia has some great values and she's a good girl. And most importantly, he thinks that this is a woman who will fight for her marriage. Then the dad talks to Grant. Grant says that Latia wants kids right away. And he personally doesn't know if he wants kids right away. He wants to wait a few years because he's been very busy all his life, and now he wants to take some time to live his life. His dad says, yeah, that makes sense, but don't let that put you in a box. Don't get caught up on one little issue if you love the person. And that was some great advice. Lastly, Grant's mom tells him that she really loved meeting Latia, but she wants him to pick who he truly wants to be with at the end. So Grant and her have some final words. He says that he loved seeing her with his family, and she then says that she loves him. She says, actually, I've never even said that to somebody before. Damn. I think Grant panicked a little in his head when he heard this. Not because he doesn't love her, but because there's another girl he clearly liked a lot too. Overall, though, this was a great positive meeting with the parents. It is then another day, or the same day, I guess, but it's time for Juliana. And as soon as Juliana gets there, I can see how Grant gets when he sees with Juliana. His eyes, they look more different than with Latia. He gets even a little bit shy and just super giddy when he's around her. So Juliana is telling them about her big Italian... Well, at this point, she's with the parents, and she's telling them about her big Italian family. Grant's dad used to live in a neighborhood with a lot of Italians. Grant says that he's sure that their dads would definitely get along. They talk about some of the dates that they had, and Grant tells them how they connected over being lone wolves. So then Juliana and Grant's mom go to talk. She asks some similar questions like she did to Latia, what is about Grant that makes you love him? And Juliana talks about how he makes her feel understood, and the mom says if Grant I've seen Grant be lonely and sad, and when he's with you, I can tell that he feels safe and at peace. If he were to ask you for your hand in marriage, would you say yes? Like, are you in love with him? And Juliana says, well, that's one of the things I really think about. We haven't said it yet, but I do see us getting to that place. I thought, oh boy, not a good answer. Now, granted, I kind of get it, but like putting myself in the mom's shoes, I would not like that answer, especially given Latia's great responses previously. The mom tells Grant after that Juliana says that she's not there yet, and Grant is a bit more open-minded about it. He says maybe there's other factors as to why that is, but the mom says if she cannot get to that place where she can say that she loves you, I would want you to walk away from that. Then Juliana talks to Grant's dad, and he asks if she has any questions, and she asks how would like Grant react if he was like wanted to talk about his feelings, if he had a bad day or whatever. And the dad says that Grant is more of a person that likes to have his space. And then he begins to talk a little bit about the situation Grant had to go through as a child, because he as a dad wasn't always there as much as he could have. So the dad thinks that the fact that Grant can talk to Juliana about his feelings is a big thing. Grant and his dad then have a conversation about this, and it was very personal. He says to Grant, I know she'll be there for you, and he gets emotional and he cheers up. He says how proud of Grant he is, and Grant gets emotional too. His dad says, it's because of you that I'm here. Even though I've made bad decisions, you've always been here. I love you, I'm proud of you, and I'm not leaving you anymore until God takes me. I know you're going to make the right choice. That was some of the realest heartfelt conversations I've seen in The Bachelor. So then they say goodbye, and then Grant goes to talk to Juliana before she leaves, and he tells her that he gets butterflies when he's around her. He's so attracted to her, and he can now tell her that he loves her, and he sees the future with her. She then says, I have something to say. This is very exciting, but also a bit scary. For so long, I've been hesitant to know what it's going to be like to love you, but after meeting your family, I think I've been knowing all along that I love you and that I want to be with you. So I love you too. Aww. And just to point out the comparison, it's so obvious. Grant was happy as hell when she said that. Like, that smile doesn't lie. So we then go back to the studio. Jesse says, a bachelor in love with two women. We've seen this before. So he then gets a panel with Charity, Clayton, and Gary. And you see, to me, this is unnecessary. I don't care what these people have to say. We already saw their seasons. They're doing this to stretch it out to 3 hours, which we don't even need in the first place. Make it an hour and a half, 2 hours max, and save that extra stuff. Although I will say I'm glad Charity is still with Dotton, though. And the product placement is crazy. They're using this finale to advertise some game show, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and Vanderpump Villa. Like, damn, we get it. So going back to the actual finale. So Grant is going on his last couple of dates. First, with Juliana. They're going to explore Punta Cana on a boat, and they're just relaxing, laying on each other, kissing and talking. They're also jumping into the water. Then later that day, it's the nighttime, so Grant needs to ask some very important questions. With an engagement coming in 2 days, would she be ready, or will she break his heart? Juliana says that's a good question. What I can promise you is to guard your heart with care. She then says that she never thought she was going to get to a point like this one, but being able to tell him that she loves him lets her know that she is ready for an engagement. And again, you guys, the smile, the relief, the excitement that you see in Grant's face after Juliana says this is out of this world. It's also really cute because they both kind of have this thing where they call each other boyfriend and girlfriend. So as they're kissing, she whispers, my boyfriend. And he whispers, my girlfriend. And then they both say, I love you as they're kissing. So that was that. Then it's a new day, and then Grant goes on his final day on this show with Latia. So they ride some horses through the forest, very romantic. It was even raining a bit. Then they talk a bit. Latia says how being by the ocean reminds her of her dad, and the horses remind her of her grantee. And Grant has a heavy heart. As I said last week, I can tell he loves both women, but when he's with Juliana, he doesn't think of Latia. And when he's with Latia, he does think of Juliana, and that in and of itself gives you an answer. So it is then later that day, and Grant is having some serious questions for Latia. First is, does she feel pressure to have kids by her family? And she says, no, not at all. She doesn't feel pressure from them. He then asks, what if in like a year or two, like I'm like not ready to have kids yet? And Latia says, well, I would need to hear your reasons, but I would ultimately want you to be ready, and I want us to be in a place where we are both excited for it. She then says some very sweet words to him. She says, I'm sure you're going through a lot of stress. You can share that with me. You're enough. You're more than enough. Then she says a little more regarding what she said to him the other day when she told him that he's the first man she's ever said I love you to. She says that she's been knowing even before she said it, and he makes her feel safe saying it. She's so sure, and I'm telling you, this girl is so in love with this man, no question. He says to her that her heart is really special. So that was it for the night, and it is now time for Grant to make his decision. So it's a new day, and Grant, he's stressed. He doesn't know what to do. His anxiety is watching him. He just doesn't know. He talks to his dad about this dilemma he's in. 2 women, he loves both. One is more about family values, and another one is a little bit more fun. They both have great things, and of course he doesn't want to let someone down. That's a whole other negative to it. This was another great conversation that he had with his dad for sure. The dad says, follow your heart. We then see the 2 women get ready. They're both nervous. Obviously, it could go 2 ways. Grant then meets up with the ring guy, even he had to tell him that he needed to choose. Grant then begins to describe both of the women, the great things about both. They place some montages of his time with both of them. It's getting to a point where production is telling Grant it's time to head out. So it's raining. Grant meets up with Jesse. He tells Jesse, I'm usually someone who's like always sure, but I just don't know. Jesse says, both the women are on their way now. I need to know who to send first. This was crazy, but he came with a decision. And when he said the words, I needed to choose someone who's actually right for me, I was like, oh, okay, I know who he's going to choose. Like, I've been knowing, but this just gave me confirmation. And I was right. Suburban pulls up on a rainy day, and Latia gets down. Now, I got to give it to her. She looked stunning. Absolutely amazing. She gets down and she starts going on about how much she loves him when they were in Scotland, and when she met his family, she wants to give him a family. Okay, now that was mean. Why'd y'all make this girl give this whole speech when he's about to dump her? That was so messed up. So Grant then says, Latia, I've been looking for an emotional connection, and I have that with you. You're one of the most beautiful women I've met. You deserve to be loved. You deserve to be treated right. Latia, I love you very much, and I want to give you everything that you deserve, but I'm not your person. My emotional connection is stronger somewhere else. And y'all, Latia's facial expression went from like 180 night to day. Like it was it was a lot. She asks, when did this happen? And he says it didn't, like, she said, when did it change? He says, it didn't change. Like, I do love you. I have been open and honest. I'm sorry. I hope you don't view me any differently. And she says, well, I do. Like, come on now. Grant says, but I think this moment is about you. And Latia says, no, it's not. I got my answers. You're different than what I thought. Grant says, I get you view me differently. She says, wouldn't you? Latia then says, Juliana is a great person and I love her. And if I were her, I would be having a lot of questions based on the things you've told me. Ooh, jeez. I mean, I get it. She's entitled to feel upset. He walks her out, and she says, like, the switch up is crazy. He says, you're right. Like, I'll take responsibility for that. This was awkward, y'all. Latia says, I'm confused, I'm sad, and I'm mad. She gets on her van and leaves. And she's disappointed, and I'm not going to take that away from her. She really thought it was going to be her, and I think we would all, too, if, like, we were her, based on the things they were saying to each other. And like I said earlier, she gave him her heart on a platter. So then we head to the studio where Jesse is then joined by Latia in present time. After watching it back, she says that she's still shocked, she's still confused. By all intents and purposes, she was made to believe as if she was going to be the one he was going to pick. Jesse asks about her comment that she said about him being different than what she thought he was. And she says, yeah, every week, starting from week 2, all he kept doing was giving her reassurance. She claims that on her date where they FaceTimed her mom, Grant had said to her, we didn't see this, but he said to her, I know it's you, I could stop this whole show right now. Latia says, if anything, it felt like he was way ahead of their love journey, and it was almost as if she were the one catching up to him. She says that things Grant would say, such as, you're my number one connection, things like, there was just a lot of things he would say to her that, like, she didn't misinterpret. Like, he said it. Jessie then references that her parents are there in the audience, and they're great. She actually had food poisoning after she left the DR, so they've been both an emotional support, and they were there for her physical recovery too. So then Grant comes out, awkward as hell. Jessie lets Latia say whatever she wants. She says to Grant, I don't think you're a bad guy. You talked a lot about honesty and accountability at the beginning of this season. You said a lot of things to me, from our first one-on-one, saying you'd stop this whole show for me. And I actually told you, don't make promises to me like that because you could change your mind. And you assured me that you didn't. Every week you told me I was the one. You gave me your journal. She says in overnights he said a lot too. Up to their final date, he says, yeah, like I'm excited, I love you. So Latia's question is like, where's the accountability? Grant then says that as a man, I have to take accountability. I did love you. I was in a very difficult situation, and I want to apologize for hurting you, your feelings, and the people who love you. Like, I want to apologize to all of y'all. I went with my heart, and I'm sorry. Jessie asks Grant if he regrets telling Latia that he even loved her, and Grant says no, he was being honest. He does regret making other mistakes, like speaking too early without realizing the whirlwind he was gonna get into. So he admits that he spoke too soon. Latia says, but it's not just an issue about you speaking too early. Like, it was all the way to the end. Like, when I said I can't wait for us to get engaged, you said me too. Latia says that it's a lot. Also, side note, I hate the fake-ass audience with their fake-ass reactions, but anyway. But Grant admits his mistakes. Latia says that she doesn't regret doing anything. She was transparent about everything. She also says that she's excited this is the last time she'll ever talk to him about this, and she knows what she deserves. Okay, that was a lot. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but let's just go ahead and end this. So we go back to the DR because this is not over yet. And Juliana has now stepped down the vehicle. She makes her way down. He is so happy to see her walk in. She begins to say at one point she didn't think she was deserving, but because of him, now she does feel she's deserving of love. She wants to protect his heart. It was beautiful. It sounded like she was giving wedding vows. So he does his thing. He says that she's inspired him. He believes that they're best friends. He wants to be there during her tough times as her man, as her friend, and as her partner. So he gets down on one knee and asks her, Juliana, will you marry me? And she says yes, 1,000,000 times yes. They were so happy. He then says, one more thing, Juliana, will you accept this rose? And she says, absolutely. He carries her and they get out of there and they are officially engaged. So then we go back to the studio audience. Grant shares how happy he is, how hard his final days were. And then his fiancée comes out, Juliana. It was great seeing her parents and his parents in the audience. They looked super excited. She looked excited. He looked excited. They've been reconnecting, obviously, for months. They've had to have kept it a secret. But now she's happy that they're able to be free and show their love. Grant says what it was about Juliana that made him choose her. Jessie does ask Juliana if it bothers her, the fact that it took him so long to decide, and she says no. She gives him grace because she knows the show that they're on. Then Jessie jokes about the conspiracy theories that were coming out after the women tell all, because Grant had a certain demeanor and whatnot, and everyone was making up speculations. Obviously, they're wrong because they're very much together. Juliana's dad says a few words. Grant talks about his dad and his family being there. And then his dad also gives a few words. And that was it. What's next for them? Well, they're moving to Boston. The network gives them a trip to Italy, which is great. That's where her lineage is from. And that was it. So, yay. The end. But just to finish the actual episode, I almost forgot about poor Zoe. They threw her towards the very end, but Zoe comes out. I really do like Zoe. I wish her the best. She's talking about how she's a multifaceted person. She's strong, she's independent, and she definitely grew from this experience. Jesse then invites her to Bachelor in Paradise, and she accepts. And then there's an announcement for Bachelor in Paradise. Apparently there's going to be a twist. They're going to have the Golden Bachelor members in Bachelor in Paradise. I don't get it. But I guess we'll see. Like, they're all going to be mixed, but like, can the old people date the young people? I don't know. But I'm definitely really excited to see Zoe, because I know her journey's not over yet. So that was the end, you guys. Okay, let's talk about it, because this is crazy. Okay, number one, I'm gonna need people to get over it. I just got off Instagram, you guys, and to see the amount of hate. Okay, first of all, who are these people? Why are y'all so mad about people you don't even know? You can have your reaction, but I see people down in Grant's account talking about, I hope she breaks your heart. I was like, well, damn. Okay, y'all need to calm down. I get it. Listen, this is what I think about it. I'm really good at reading people's body language, the way that they smile, the way that they, all this stuff. Like, that's why I've been telling y'all for a few weeks that I know he's going to pick Juliana. So that's why it wasn't a surprise to me. Now, what I can give it to people is that, yes, the way he did it was definitely messy. And I think he did this not just to Latia. It was a few other women that I think that throughout the season, he kind of, I don't want to use, I guess technically the word would be he let them on. But in my opinion, I actually see it more as like him being genuine. And like, it lets me know he was being genuine, because in each individual relationship that he had, I think he was giving his true self. But when it came down to choosing one, he had to choose one. Like, he was gonna break one's heart regardless. So yes, I'll give it to the people. He could have definitely been a little bit cleaner. He could have not been super into Latia. But then again, you guys, this is his journey. He was doing it genuinely to him. And I'm seeing all these people talk down on Juliana, saying, how could you be with a man after you saw how... Okay, first of all, people, y'all realize that The Bachelor films for like a few months, right? So any mature, smart woman would know, yeah, well, of course he probably had some difficult choosing, and we barely even know each other. Second of all, half of these people online be staying with their cheating boyfriends, so y'all need to step down talking about what's acceptable, like what you need to accept or you don't need to accept. Worry about yourselves, okay? But anyway, you guys, I'm very happy with Grant and Juliana. I really loved Grant. I think he's a great stand-up guy. I think he's very respectful. I think he's very, he wears his emotions in his sleeves. He's very loving. And Juliana, she's very fun. She's friendly. She's very beautiful. And also, there's a whole other topic that we're not even discussing. Maybe he didn't want to be a Mormon. Has anybody thought about that? But anyway, you guys, Latia, no hate to her. She deserves the best as well. But let Grant be happy. Let him live. I love their families. I love Grant's family. I love Juliana's family. And I really am hoping that they will end up together. And if they don't, then they don't. It is what it is. But you guys, this has been one season. Not the best season, but interesting finale. But y'all let me know what your thoughts are. If y'all disagree with me, go ahead and let me know. That's totally fine. Thank y'all so much for sticking with me this whole season, and I'll catch y'all next time where we will be back to recap Bachelor in Paradise. So great season, y'all. Love y'all. Until the next time.